All right, what's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some big news for you guys here in this video, including lawmakers unveil a plan to keep Americans from claiming Social Security too early. That's right. I'll give you the details on that. Also, Senator Bernie Sanders' bill asks Elon Musk to pay $2.9 billion to boost your Social Security check by $2,400. That's right. And I'll give you the details of that here in this video. So let's jump right in. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Here we go. Okay, lawmakers have unveiled a new plan to keep Americans from claiming Social Security too early. That's right, and here's why. Yeah, a bipartisan group, both Republicans and Democrats, of senators launched a multi-pronged effort this week to help Americans make what they're saying better decisions about when to claim their Social Security benefits. A letter and legislation released on Monday said that Americans are confused about their options and that Social Security Administration needs to do a better job at communication, including bringing back paper statements, which is pretty costly to tens of millions of Americans. I think there's over 60 or 70 million Americans on Social Security. We believe that Social Security Administration should take more proactive measures to provide Americans with the tools and the resources to determine how to best set themselves up and their families for financial security in retirement, wrote Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican from Louisiana, Chris Coons, Democrat from Delaware, Susan Collins, Republican from Maine, and Tim Kaine, Democrat from Virginia. Monday's announcement comes after years of discussion on the issue, and they're working on several ways to fix Social Security this year, as it's set to run out of money in this potentially as early as less than 10 years. Groups like the Bipartisan Policy Center have pushed for reforms for years and were cited in Monday's letter. In a 2020 report, the group said many people are hurting their long-term financial security by claiming Social Security too early. Very interesting here. Saying, quote, Americans are jumping in, quote, at a financially suboptimal time if they take it too early because they get less money. Yeah, this is because if you take Social Security too early, you get less money, and there's a trade-off. Take a listen to this here.
One of the big questions facing retirees is, when should I start taking Social Security? Now, there are a few reasons why you might want to delay getting those payments. Yahoo Finance's Kerry Hannon is here to tell us all about them. So, Kerry, why should people wait?
Oh my gosh, this is such a hard decision, and it really depends on your individual situation, that's for sure. But what's happening is that people are, especially this year because of inflation and all that, people are saying, should I start now? I just need the cash. And so if they're 62, they can tap into it starting now. But at 62, but if you can wait, Rochelle, if you can wait till age 70 from your full retirement age, which is usually these days at 66 or 67, if 67 if you were born in 1960 or after, if you can wait, you get a guaranteed annual rate increase of 8% a year until you reach age 70 from your full retirement age. If you start back at 62, which truthfully is what most people tend to do, you automatically lock yourself into a reduced rate of even 30% less than if you did your full retirement age at 66 or 67. But I tell people, really, if you can wait till 70, that 8% annual return for those few years, what investment gets that for you these days? Not that many. It depends if you can afford it. So this is a kind of a tricky calculation, but the Social Security Administration has a great calculator to help you figure it out, as does AARP. So I encourage people, run the numbers, see if you can wait, because it really will result in a permanent larger check for you moving forward, and particularly with longevity.
Now, that can be a tough stretch for people, especially if they didn't plan to sort of wait that long. So what can people do to help them wait until 70 to really turn on those Social Security benefits?
I know, Rochelle, it's tricky. I know what I would suggest people do, and this is my favorite thing because it is something near and dear to my heart, is try to work longer. If you can stay on the job longer and keep earning, by all means, that will help you push back the time where you feel you need to really, kick off that Social Security benefit. And the other thing you can do is why not look around and see if there are other savings or investments you can start tapping sooner, perhaps start into those tax deferred retirement accounts, that sort of thing, because you have this great 8% bump coming to you. Or, see if you can downsize, look for other ways, but if you can hold off, most people will benefit.
Now, truth be told, it's a difficult decision for a lot of people because if you can't work that long, you might need the money. Also, you won't be getting the payments for several years. You're literally delaying the payments and not getting any money for those years at all. You got to take that into consideration here as well. And it's a tough decision here, one way or another. The other thing you've got to think about is that some people literally don't make it to age 70. So you got to think about that here as well. With that being said, is that you can actually recoup your money pretty quickly based on one of the comments. And you can do the math with the Social Security calculator, and Social Security should tell you based on your statements how much you've put in and how much you can get back out based on what your monthly payments will be. You can figure out how quickly you'll actually get back the money you paid in. But based on one of Howard's statements, one of our commenters, one of our viewers here, he kind of figured out he would actually get back all the money he paid into Social Security in about 4 years, a little bit over 4 years, all the money he paid in throughout the years, because the money he was paying in 30 or 40 years ago was pennies on the dollars compared to today's dollars. So you got to kind of take that into consideration here. Yeah, so you guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comment section. And yeah, is it better for you to wait, or is it better to take it as soon as possible and just get those checks coming in so you can use the money? Next up, Senator Bernie Sanders' bill asks Elon Musk to pay $2.9 billion to boost your Social Security check by $2,400 per year. While the current Social Security Trust Fund may come up short sometime in 2034, and another Congressional Budget Office report said in as early as 9 years, which would be 2032 here. According to recent projections, the reality is that the program is simply too important and too popular with the majority of Americans that it would ever be allowed to run dry. Well, they can't. They owe us money. What Social Security does need is a plan to make up the projected deficit that at worst would cut benefit checks by about 20% sometime in the future. That plan could be the one recently unveiled by Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Elizabeth Warren, along with House Representatives Jan Schakowsky and Val Hoyle in the U.S. House of Representatives, which has just been reintroduced here for the new Congress in 2023. Social Security bill by Senator Bernie Sanders could give seniors an extra $2,400 per year in payments. The measure, dubbed the Social Security Expansion Act, would expand benefits by an average of $2,400 a year per person and completely finance Social Security for the next 75 years. Those are the two major points, which makes it hugely popular because they're very good points. An extra $2,400 per year per person and completely finance Social Security for the next 75 years. Think about that. Both of those seem pretty good, right? The bill calls for a new tax on some investment income and the elimination on the cap on the high wage earners taxes to support the Social Security Trust Fund. Under the existing law, the payroll tax rate is 12.4%, half paid by workers and half paid by employers, 6.2% each, with self-employed workers paying the entire amount. In 2023, all earned income above 160,200 is exempt from Social Security tax, while investment income isn't taxed at all, which means people that make 500,000 a year or a million a year, 10 million a year, 100 million a year, or 100 million a year or a billion a year only pay Social Security taxes up to that $160,000 a year. Yeah. So you can see here right now a couple earning $75,000 a year pays Social Security tax at the 6.2% rate, while someone earning $325,000 is taxed on slightly less than half of what he earns at an effective rate of 3.02%, a much lower rate than the one paid by the couple that makes less. Under this new Social Security Expansion Act, this proposal, investment income would be taxed at the self-employed payroll rate as well of 12.4%, starting at $200,000 for individuals and $250,000 for joint tax filers. In addition, income of $250,000 or more would be subject to the payroll tax of 12.4%. Income in the gap between would not be taxed 160 to 250,000. Instead, the proposed rules would wait until the wage cap rises to 250,000, at which point the cap becomes moot. So then you would just be paying Social Security taxes on everything. Bernie Sanders released a table showing the effect on the taxes on the 10 highest CEOs in the US with compensation of $23.5 billion in 2022. Tesla CEO Elon Musk paid a Social Security tax rate of 0.00004% on his earnings. Because remember, the Social Security is only taxed on the first $160,200. So he paid his Social Security taxes up to $160,200, and then there's no more Social Security taxes over that because he has basically paid in the maximum for that year. He's hit the maximum earnings for that year. So remember, Social Security is you pay in and you get back out what you pay in plus interest type of system. Okay. So there's a maximum that you can get per year. And if you pay in the maximum, you get back out the maximum. Remember, that's kind of how Social Security works. So the reason that that cap is there is because if you pay in the maximum, there's no reason to pay any more. So what they're actually proposing here is that high income earners would basically socialize Social Security and would pay an additional 12.4% taxes, but would not get any benefit for it. Now, 12.4% is a lot of money to pay additional, because when you're at that tax rate, you're probably at or near the highest tax rate of 35% or maybe 32%, or depends. So you're probably already paying very high tax rates of the federal tax rate, and then you probably have a state tax rate, something like this. So to tack on an additional 12.4% as well, you're probably paying 50% or more taxes with all the different taxes on there, which would really mean that the government might be making more money on your earnings than you, if all this is applicable, right? Yeah, but you can see here under the Social Security Expansion Act, Musk would pay, if he had to pay this additional 12.4%, he would pay an additional $2.9 billion to Social Security, leaving him with still an impressive $21.5 billion paycheck. Yeah, so this is why, if this passed on a typical year, this was, I think he got this money from selling stocks, I believe. So this would be then capital gains, and then now they would tax this type of money. Yeah, so he would pay just in 1 year when he made this is how he financed Twitter. He'd pay an additional $2.9 billion of Social Security taxes and not get any benefit for it. And you can see some headlines here. This was from 2021. Elon Musk faced a $15 billion tax bill. So when these guys sell stocks, they have to pay taxes. Okay. So that was likely the reason he was selling stock. $15 billion he had to pay in taxes. And also, he had to pay probably around $11 billion in taxes in 2022. This was actually in February article in February 2022. So maybe even more after 2022 was over as he sold more stocks. Tesla's potential tax bill zero. It's actually corporations that large corporations that kind of get away with financial, I don't want to say trickery, because it's the way the tax code is written. I mean, for people, if you have income, you have to pay taxes on it. Yeah, you may have some write-offs and stuff like that. And if you have stocks, billionaires kind of, they get a little bit of, complaining by some people. But basically, when they do go to sell their stocks, then they have to pay the taxes. And that's why you kind of hear some people complaining about that. But eventually, they have to pay their fair share. Just so people kind of realize that this is where the tax code is really kind of whack. Out of the Fortune 100 companies, so the top 100 companies in the US that make the most amount of money, okay, 19 of them, so 19% of the Fortune 100 companies in the US paid next to nothing or nothing at all in taxes in 2021. That's one of the main problems with the tax code that needs fixing. The problem is that Congress goes year after year after year and does little to nothing about it. In fact, they got tax cuts just a few years ago from the Trump tax cuts. That corporations got huge tax cuts from that. I'm not picking sides. It's just kind of the reality of things here is that these corporations go billions and billions of dollars every single year and pay. You can see the headline here. Next to or nothing in taxes. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. If you appreciate these videos, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you share these videos with anybody that needs to know this. And make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here's actually some good news for millions of Americans and some big info on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and Medicare. And here is a disturbing message that just came out about government lockdowns. That's right. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.